Thursday, April 11th.
Western Commissioner Lizzie Blue.
Present.
Eastern Commissioner Bradley Jackson.
Present.
Presiding Commissioner Glenn Morris.
Present. If you all join me with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Mackenzie, good job.
Thanks.
In calling the road today. One of our very good employees, but new at doing this, and Maddie trained you well, and so we got a good start in the morning. So we appreciate everyone being here today. We've got our next thing to do is to approve the consent agenda. We've got to approve other items of consideration. We do have one financial. We have the certified court order. It is number 04-11, 2024-01, and it is our road and bridge sales tax as of April 5th report. And we do have a disbursement. Well, we have a remaining pool of $137,515.72. We actually dispersed to Common 1, $156,026.90. Common 2, $152,934.35. So that is our financial. We only have one previous minute to approve. It was on April the 4th. Under items for consideration, I'm going to change the rotation of this. I'm going to put the very first thing, Assessor Gray and County Clerk Brumfield. They're going to be talking about storage space. I want them to go first because they've got another meeting, timed meeting at 9:30. Then we're going to do the library, and we're going to stay in sequence the rest of the time. And then under communications, Ms. Amber HR has a couple of communications. I've got one, and we'll see if the other commissioners have any communications. So I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Make that motion, sir.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Okay, so the first item today, if our county clerk and our assessor will come up, we're going to talk about storage space, which is always an issue, and we'll see what your guys' ideas are.
Well, I don't know if you kind of understand where this kind of came from, but we had moved a lot of our storage space out of the cell space where we created office space, and a lot of that went downstairs into the office next to you, Hosey. Then when they secured the house over there, we were able to move that stuff because they wanted to clean that out, and so our stuff got moved over to the house. Now, we don't have a whole lot, but we've got some, and it's climate. It needs to be climate controlled. It's Mylars and Mylar machine. Mylars are historical maps from the 1980s that are plastic, and so they can't really be with a lot of heat and that type of stuff. Now, of course, they're tearing down the house, so we're needing somewhere to be able to store that stuff, and we don't have anywhere. Without renting a storage building or something, that may be the solution. I don't know. I know that Paula.
I've got the same issue. I've got lots of stand-up booths, sneeze guards that need to be climate controlled. I just don't have anywhere upstairs to put it, so I don't know where to go.
So how much things do you need to store compared to what?
Being air and measured, we needed a 20
by 15.
20 by 15. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff over there, so I just don't know where to put it.
Yeah, and you have to have it. So I mean, we got to maintain that, and so I think that our house on our 40-acre tract that we're getting ready to actually break ground this spring. We'll have a work study session next week on breaking ground and where we're at. But I think they want to start demolishing that on around May the 1st. So we do have about 2.5 weeks to figure out what we're going to do with important documents and things like that. I don't know if there's any more room over in resource management. There was one space that they were putting things in, but I don't know. Did Richard say anything to you about another building that they were going to have? There is a temporary building, and I don't know how big it is. I think it may be a 12 by 15 or 12 by 12, something like that, but I don't even know if that would be enough.
For me, I need 10 by 10.
10 by 10. So you need a 10 by 10, that might take up almost all that space.
Close.
Now, one of the things that...
I may not need
It's
quite
not climate
that much.
controlled.
Yeah.
It's not climate
Now, one of the things
controlled.
Todd told me, but this is not going to help us now, we have to solve it before that. But when we get our new building built out there, resource management, we start building some buildings out there, we will probably have some storage space to begin with.
Well, that was something we were
But
concerned with.
that's down the road.
You know, we can always rent a facility if we know that's a short-term solution. I just hate to rent something for a long-term solution.
No, I think that we'd be much better, taxpayers and all of us would be much better suited if we can figure out a short-term solution and then figure out a longer-term solution with our own property where we're not paying storage fees.
I think we can share a facility. I mean, that's
Okay.
an option. We've talked about that. She needs a bigger space than I do, obviously, but we were looking at...
So did you check out
25
rates
by
for those?
10, is that what it was? 25 by 10 was $219 a month.
$219 a month, okay. And can you do that month by month, or can you do that 6 months at a time, or a 1-year lease, or what do you have to do?
Don't know. I prefer to do a year, but...
1 year, and that way buys us time to know what we need to do?
But
Okay.
I know in Paula's case, Paula doesn't have any budgeted money for that. I don't have any budgeted money for that either. That wasn't anything that we were anticipating.
Well, you didn't anticipate that, did we?
That's kind of why we're having a meeting today.
That's right. So, Miss Amy, our auditor, my question is, they don't have any, this new to me too, so we didn't budget any money for something like this. A short-term, 6 months to a year, maybe the rest of this year, say 9 months, or maybe we can get something figured out in the next few months. But where does the money come from that we could help take care of this? We're going to call this a short-term problem.
We would have to discuss that, which fund it would come out of, and would it come out of multiple funds, would it come out of one fund, and we would have to do a budget amendment.
Okay, well, can we we know what the problem is, so now we know what the problem is, now we need to figure out what the answer is. Can you kind of work on that a little bit and see what you think the best solution would be?
Yes.
Yeah. And Amber, did you have a question?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
My eye.
Okay.
Sorry. It's actually twitching, that's probably, sorry.
I saw your eye twitch, and I thought you were raising your hand. So, so maybe we could do that. We don't have to make a decision today, but we can make a decision next week in the commission meeting, still give you time to get everything done. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay for us. I've got my people, we can move our stuff.
Okay.
Paula probably needs help.
Well, Richard and his people will help do whatever we need to do. Do you guys have any comments or questions?
I just have questions about what we're storing and what the necessity is for all of the items. Are these items that we use once a year? Are these items that we just need to archive somewhere more permanently, or find a totally different solution other than being in a storage building?
We have to have access to ours. We only visit it maybe 4 or 5 times a year. And historically, we're going back and looking at how those maps were.
So for your case, you're looking at reference materials.
Yes.
You've got to go back and reference
That's
them, but
correct.
that's you. What about yours?
Ours is election equipment, stand-up booths that we could possibly use, sneeze guards if there's a pandemic again, just signs, stuff that we would possibly use in the
Okay.
future.
So it's just stuff that maybe once a year, twice a year you would
Maybe
use.
3 times if possible, yes.
Okay.
Do either of you have any discretionary funds that you could put toward this matter?
I do. You know, I have some money that we could use. I don't have it budgeted,
I know.
but that may be another.
You don't have any
I don't have discretionary funds.
So
Besides-
my thoughts would be if the two of you working with Miss Amy would work out a solution that is feasible, legal, you know, all of that sort of stuff, then I think when you bring it back here, we'd be ready to do it in a heartbeat. Once the three of you have a solution, I think you're better people to do the solution than us because you know what you need.
I think the one thing I wanted the meeting for today was knowing a long-term plan. Short-term, we can take care of this. I just don't want to see us run a storage facility for 10 years.
Mhm.
I don't think that's a viable
Oh,
option.
absolutely not. And that's one of the things I know that we had discussed about a year ago when we were talking about our space needs analysis for the property out there when we build a structure, making sure that all the departments have all the necessary space they need to store whatever it is that works inside their office. So definitely want to make sure that we get that taken care of because we're continuing to grow.
We are.
We're continuing to acquire more and more items that are being used. We need to make sure that we have plenty
Well,
and ample space.
And what's going on with most of the offices is due to that growth, employment is going up, and so that means we're having to have more office space, and we have less storage space. That's
Yes.
just what it boils down to.
Sure.
So we don't have that space.
I think that'd be a great topic, as I listen to you all talk about a work study session coming up fairly soon to figure out, now that we're going to be talking next week about breaking ground this spring, as Tommy Weisenham said, that we're going to have some extra storage space. We need to make sure that as we build these buildings to get everybody together, that we have adequate storage now and for the future, because like Commissioner Jackson said, we don't want storage places here and there's storage places all over the town, and we don't want them everywhere. And I'd rather build our own, we got our own land, whether it be the 40 acres or over there at Sparta where we have plenty of land, where the Common Road 1 people, we got land, we could build our own climate-controlled storage center.
The collector's office already has an off-site.
Yeah, they have an off-site, so we just don't want them scattered around, and it gets to be expensive if you rent them month after month, years. We need a solution before that.
And I think we also need to look at the possibility that as things begin to transition to the West Campus, that there would be storage space available in this building.
Could be. It could be. But I think that's probably going to be the last group that we actually move out is some of this here. I think that's longer away. But what I'll do is I'll work with Miss Amy, and I will also work with Richard. We might be able to find if yours doesn't have to be climate controlled, then and his needs to, we may end up having to rent a space for him that's climate controlled, and Richard may be able to find you all the space you need, even though it may be bigger than that, with what his other solution that he has.
Our plexiglass sneeze guards need to be climate controlled because
Okay.
if they
So we
get
may
too
have to
hot,
do-
they'll buckle.
May have to do a combination then, and we'll see.
10 by 10 spaces is what we were looking at initially.
Okay.
It'll run us about $100 a month.
About $100, okay. All right, well, all right, well, I appreciate that. So we have an issue, and we're going to solve it. And we'll see if we have the answer next week, next Tuesday at our commission meeting. We'll put this back on the agenda, and we'll come up with an idea.
Appreciate it.
And then we'll get a vote.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Christian County Library, and we got Mr. Nicholas here who's going to give us a annual report of the library.
We're going to tell you what's going on. I got some stuff for you. So if you get tired of looking at me, you can look at this one. There's three.
All right.
thank you for letting me come in and give you an update of what we're doing. This week is National Library Week, which has been celebrated since 1958, and the goal is to encourage people to read. But nowadays it includes all of the good work that libraries do and library workers do for the community. This year's theme is Ready, Set, Library, encapsulating the idea that from start to finish, libraries are there wherever you find yourself on the roadmap to the dream. So I'm going to start with some numbers. National Library Week is a perfect time to remind everyone that our mission is to build community for all through access, innovation, and engagement. And we think we're doing just that. Lynn, what you have in your hand there is the annual report. These are numbers I'm pulling from it. So in 2023, we had over 161,500 visitors come through the doors at all 4 branches, which is up about 17,000 visits from the previous year. And checkouts. Last year we had 257,978 physical items that were checked out and 113,000 digital items with a total circulation of over 371,000. That's also up from 2022. But everybody knows the library is much more than books. They're truly unique places to engage and have lifelong learning. So we have from outdoor concerts to book clubs, from mushroom foraging to yoga. We've offered over 1,000 library events last year with over 14,000 people attending. So that's a lot of numbers. Like I said, Lynn has the annual report. To look through it, please. If you don't have one, you can swing by any branch and we'll get you one, or you can download it from our website. So, how are we going to celebrate National Library Week? It's kind of like spring break for libraries. We're all excited about it. Each day, there's a thematic theme that we're doing. I'm just going to break that down real quickly. We're on Thursday, so if you follow us on social media, you've probably already seen some of the stuff that we've done, and if not, this is just giving you the update. On Monday, we use that day as a library as a small business incubator, and one of the most important assets a small business has is their library card, which grants them access to market research tools to identify potential growth based on consumer spending habits. They can customize legal forms ranging from real estate and service contracts to patents and trademarks. And you can also take self-paced training courses on customer service management, OSHA compliance, recruitment, digital marketing, and more. Tuesday was Library Workers Day. The most important asset the library has are its workers. These are the smiling, patron-focused individuals dedicated to be a bridge between the patrons and the library resources that we offer. Just this week, on Tuesday, we received this testimonial from a patron via Facebook, and I'm just going to quickly read through it. I was looking for a book to complete an item on a reading challenge with my kids. It had to have a certain word in the title, and we couldn't find a book matching the requirements. We asked someone at the circulation desk to help. They found a book in Clever and stayed on the phone until the staff person placed it on hold. He offered to have the book delivered to Ozark, our normal branch, but I said we were heading that way. As soon as we walked into Clever and I asked, the staff knew exactly who I was and gave us the book to complete the challenge. I could name several other examples of CCL staff, all being quite amazing. Wednesday was Library Outreach Day, and these are the unsung heroes. The library's outreach team, internally known as the 5th branch, is out there every day in the community delivering materials and providing services. Last year, 4,185 items were delivered to patrons considered to be in our homebound program or experiencing mobility limitations. And 6,000 materials were delivered to assisted living facilities, nursing homes, and schools. So if you have a parent, an aunt, an uncle, friend, or a loved one in an assisted living facility, or they're unable to leave their home, let us know and we'll deliver materials straight to them. Today is Take Action Day. So everybody plays a role to encourage a spirit of civic engagement. Later today, we're going to be posting a video of local community leaders and elected officials sharing why they love the library and continue to champion that as a vital role. Other way people can get involved with Take Action Day is by joining support organizations, such as the Friends of the Library or the Foundation. They can register to vote at the library and participate during elections by voting at the NICSA branch during the upcoming elections. If a ballot needs to be notarized, there's free notary services offered at every branch. Tomorrow is Library Stories. For some, the library is a place to explore new ideas and skills. Others, it's a place to attend events and to be entertained. But we all have that library story. So all week long, at each branch, we're encouraging you to tell us your library story. We have a poster board with sticky notes that you can come in and write how the library's made an impact on you. And if you can't make it in the library, you can also do that online. So that was a lot. So how can you join in the celebration? A celebration is best enjoyed with others. There are some ways that you and anybody else in the community can celebrate with us. Visit the library. There are 4 branches throughout the county, so you're only minutes away from one close to you. Get a library card. Access to resources begins with the library card, and if an existing card is expired, it's just moments to reactivate it. Try something new. There's lots that the library offers, from ice cream machines to Nintendo Switches, from yard games to fishing poles. And I think most importantly, thank a library worker. It's easy to miss those opportunities of sharing gratitude. And so we all like to hear how our work is appreciated and what we do makes an impact. So the next time you're in the library or sit out in the community, stop by and say hi. Okay. Any questions?
Very good, very good. So, any comments or questions?
I have none.
So just a word about there, especially at NICSA, space that you have that's available for meeting space for whomever. Say a word about that.
Yeah. So NICSA is a good example. So we have a large meeting room that can hold up to 100, roughly, that anybody can reserve and come in there. There are a few stipulations with that. There's smaller meeting rooms, one that can hold about 15, and then there's 2 study rooms that can hold up to 4. But those are open anytime the library is open. And if there's a special event, there is a process to talk with the branch manager to have it open after hours, which will require an additional fee, which will pay for the staff time to be in there. But every branch has that. NICSA has the most.
Right.
Ozark has 3 rooms that can be reserved, and then Sparta and Clever have 2 rooms that can be reserved. But they're open for anybody.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a good service that's provided to the community.
I think Nicholas and Renee are directors here of the library services, and I do appreciate, I had a meeting with Miss Renee just a few weeks ago, and she took the time to show me around the NICSA library, where a lot of this services for all 4 libraries, they have more employees there. And it's kind of interesting how they get books from different places and how everything works. They kind of explained to me all the different employees and introduced me to them, and it was quite interesting. The library is a little bit more complicated than what people think, just going in and getting a book or something like that. And I really do appreciate it. I think this county is so blessed because we have 4 libraries. I remember back in the time when we only had 2 libraries, and we kept trying to get ballots passed that would increase those 2 libraries, but didn't talk about the other areas, Sparta and Clever area, which takes care of Billings and Chadwick and all that. And so now we're blessed because we have 4. They're pretty well, like you said, minutes away from each other, that somebody can get to a library and use it. So we really do appreciate that. Do we just still have one ice cream maker?
We still just have one ice cream maker.
Okay. How
We're looking for grants to get more.
Well, maybe I'll buy one if I use one, because I still am going to use your ice cream maker and make some homemade ice cream for my grandkids this summer. So I'm gonna be calling, and so I think my point is there's a lot of services that you all do that isn't really about books necessarily, that people can tap into if they really go in and explore. the library system. So I do appreciate that. I think you guys bring a lot of value to our communities. So appreciate you being here today. All righty. Okay, the next item on the agenda is County Clerk Brumfield.
Treasurer Matthews here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Let's get Miss Karen up here. Let's get Miss Karen up here, our treasurer, and Melissa. Miss Melissa, we're gonna be talking about bank resolution update.
You all want to add Kayla onto the banking signature cards in order for her to be able to use your stamp, and we don't have to call Cheryl and her.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea.
So I've already got the paperwork drawn up.
Okay.
That's what you told me you wanted to do.
Mhm.
And so you'll need to sign, Lynn, and you and Melissa and myself, because we've had it down to where your signature's printed on the checks when they're printed, and then I sign, and if I'm not here to sign, Melissa signs, and if, about the only thing that we need your signature on it is the payroll registers and if I have wire transfers. So most all of our checks print now with your laser print already on them. So
Okay. Yeah,
it's not all the time that we have to do it.
Yeah, I think just for continuity of making sure we get things done properly and on time, I think this would be a good thing to have
Okay.
done.
Well, can you come down here and sign with us?
Yeah.
That way we don't
Yeah,
have to
I
run
can.
back and forth.
I can. Come down
And on what we're doing, Ms. Karen, there's no need for commission to officially make a motion, do this, that, and the other?
There is.
Yeah.
We'll need
Yeah, we'll
two
make-
motions.
We'll make a motion to do that.
Not
But
signing
that's
anything.
just on, your first one is just on the banking
Yes.
signatures.
Your paper bank
Yeah.
signature.
Okay, well, you want them to make a motion before we
Okay.
sign?
I need a motion
Appropriate,
Yeah.
and a second. Need a motion.
I'll move to add Kayla Countryman to our signature on our bank accounts.
I second that motion.
Got a motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
You can sign.
Okay, I can sign.
And that one right there.
Right here.
Right there, it says your name. Okay, and Kayla, you need to take his stamp and you will
Okay.
stamp it right
Thank
there.
you.
No, you're not done.
Oh, not done. Okay.
By Kayla Country. That's only one of them.
Okay.
And then the second one. And then the third one.
So, what's as bad as buying a house or a car?
Well, you should have been here when we had 9 on there. That's bad. You can thank me for that.
Okay, well, thank you.
I got that spot.
Okay.
It was a real mess, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I even had sticky notes for you guys, and
Right.
yours was the color blue, and you guys couldn't get it.
I know. Operator error.
Can you do that? Hey, thank you very much.
Okay, and I'll get these over to the bank.
That's a good business practice there.
Lynn, you'll need to do a second motion that will allow Kayla to use the other commissioner stamps on other items, because
Okay.
currently Cheryl is the only one who
Okay.
utilizes them.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the other 2 commissioner signatures that Kayla can use the stamp.
Make that motion, sir.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes. Thank you very much.
And Miss Melissa, if memory serves me correctly, you're the only name on the ballot for this
That is
position.
correct.
So congratulations on that.
Thank
Big shoes to fill.
Thank you. Very.
Yeah.
Very.
The battle axe will be leaving the building.
Elvis has left the building.
Thanks, Miss Melissa. All right, thanks, Miss Karen. So, okay, the next item on the agenda now, we're going to get to County Clerk Brumfield certification of election, and we had election.
Yes, we had an election April 2nd. Only 9.19% turned out of the 67,000 registered voters. Only 6,000 showed up to vote, so kind of a low turnout. I think the lowest one was in 2021. We only had 7% turnout, so it's really sad. But I'm just here to certify the results, to put them in the minutes for future reference.
I think Greene County had 13%,
Yeah,
still a horrible number.
I think Taney County had 7, so yeah, it was very, very low stuff. But, we certified the election on Friday the 5th, and so it is done with. But like I said, I'm just certifying them to put the results in the minutes for future reference. Anyone have any questions?
No.
You know, I'm sure through the Clerks Association, you guys probably talk about that, but I think it's a really sad occasion that we can only get less than 10% to vote. Because these local races, these are the beginning of the local races that you're going to be seeing throughout the year. And when you start with less than 10% of the citizens controlling who they want, it's just kind of sad. And it's sad for the people running, that they are working hard and they believe that they should win and want to win, and then they don't get very many voters out. I just think it's sad. I wish there was a way we could figure out a way to...
A lot of people didn't know it was an election day. I had a friend of my husband's, he didn't even know it was an election day. So I don't know how they don't know that. I don't think, just don't pay attention to the news or what, but they don't know it's an
well...
But I think one of the counties, I can't remember which one, they had 23%. I think that's the highest I saw for...
How much was it?
23%.
Well, I'd love to have 23%.
Yeah, but I can't remember what county it was, but that's the highest one I saw.
Yeah, I just hope people realize you don't use something, you could lose it.
Yeah. But that's all I have. It's just...
Okay, so we need a motion to approve your certification of votes, is that right?
I think so.
I'll make a motion to accept the certification.
Second that
Of the
motion,
election.
sir.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Thank you all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to you and your staff. I haven't heard any complaints or problems about voting and stuff like that. That's a hard job. Even if you only have 10% of the people voting, you still have to be organized and make sure everything's going smooth and stuff like that. People they don't understand all that work that goes into getting all the equipment tested and going and stuff like that.
Well, thank you.
So good job.
We tried. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, I guess we've covered everything except the discussion on changing our commission date from Tuesday to Thursday. Because Kayla and I put that on the agenda again. We've kind of talked about it, but it just this week was another example where I had a 2-day meeting up in Jefferson City, and we do have another holiday coming up soon. That's going to be on a Monday, so we won't have a commission meeting on Tuesday. We have them on Thursday. My feeling, and as I've talked to a few of the elected officials and worked with Ms. Kayla, is the fact that if Thursday seems to be a better day for some of the people, and it seems like that we can get all the things that Ms. Kayla needs to have for us by Thursday, and then if we need to have an emergency meeting on Monday, Tuesday, or whatever day we need it, we will have it. To run this county, we'll have an emergency meeting whenever we need it. But I'm just thinking that Thursday might be a better day to have our weekly meeting. Do you guys feel strong one way or the other where we might be able to take a vote on that today, get a motion? Is it,
I have no preference on what day we do the people's business. I can do it every day of the week or one day a week. It doesn't matter which day it is to me.
what do you think, Commissioner Blue? I mean, is Thursday as good a day as Tuesday for you?
Couple of things. First preliminary thing, if there is a holiday on Monday, we can, if we chose to, still do a meeting on Tuesday.
We
It has
can.
to be
It makes
noticed
it
earlier.
pretty hard as far as getting the agenda out. What I've seen this year is when we tried to do that in the past and this year, it cuts somebody off. They don't realize that we got to go 24 hours ahead of time to get
Sure.
the agenda out. So
I'm-
to try to, and she's always getting her last, almost every week or close to every week, we seem to always have one last person trying to get something else into the agenda, and we do amend the agenda. If we can amend the agenda and we have time, we will always amend the agenda and get more people involved, but sometimes there's just a deadline that we have, and so I'm just thinking that, hey, I'm here every day, and I can do the meeting any day too, but it looks like to me it might be a good thing to try Thursdays for a while.
I have absolutely no objection to that. I think it's good to, it seemed like we were moving almost toward where there were sometimes multiple meetings that were not emergencies. We just wound up with 2 or 3 meetings, none of which last more than an hour or something. So if we're going to do the Thursday one, I'd just like to encourage all of our people, get their information in plenty of time that week, and let's consolidate. I don't mind meeting other days. It's just not necessarily the best use of time to have a meeting that takes 15 minutes when we could do it on Thursday. But I'm perfectly happy with Thursday.
Okay.
So for fairness to staff, I think it would be important that, whatever day we choose, we have deadlines. For this week's agenda, everything has to be in by Monday or Tuesday, whatever day, if we're meeting on Thursday. In fairness to staff, to not be scrambling at the last minute trying to get information to us, I just think that we need to set a policy, an internal policy, that we have deadlines, and if we need to have a meeting, if it's truly important and it's past the deadline, cutoff line, it could be added. It could call for a special meeting, but for fairness to staff, I think it's unfair for people just to come in at any given time and say, hey, I want to get this added to the agenda, and the deadline's passed, and that makes staff scramble to achieve that.
Sure. Yeah, I think deadlines generally ought to be deadlines.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And it seems like that we just don't. Anything's coming in at any given time. I prefer to be able to have, especially some of this information that we get. I want it more than 2 days, 3 days, 4 days in front of the meeting, because I want to have time to be able to read through it all, do some research, formulate a stance or an opinion on a topic. And when you're handed something the day before a meeting, you're scrambling to find time.
Absolutely.
To delve into all that information and make a good educated decision.
Sure.
I think those are good comments. I think that the way we work it now with Miss Kayla getting packets ready, and so she doesn't get them ready until Friday afternoon after our deadline, and so then she has a packet for each of us right here Friday afternoon. But you may not be here Friday afternoon, so now you see it Monday, whatever time you get here on Monday, and now you got your meeting on Tuesday. And if you want to do some research or a little due diligence on what's going on those agenda items, I just think I would feel I'll be here no matter what. We're going to run the meetings, but I feel like that we ought to try Thursdays and see if we, and then whatever you all decide to do, then I want Ms. Kayla to go ahead and send out to our staff, to all the elected officials, our staff, to make sure that we do understand the deadlines, and that if you're going to be presenting something and you have a handout, we have to have it before the deadline, because she's got to be able to make copies and get that for us, or we won't have the information to study ahead of time. So we are going to, no matter what we do, we're going to go ahead and be sending this out again as a friendly reminder, and the people who really are probably the ones that create more of an issue are the ones that's from outside and they don't understand that it's nice if they bring a handout the day up, but it'd even be better if we had what we were going to present, we could already have it with our packet, because I usually take my packet home on Fridays to try to look at it over the weekend and on Monday, and I don't just look at it one time. And so I think the sooner we have those packets complete, the better off we'll be too. So I would entertain a motion. If you want to change it to Thursday, I'd entertain a motion. If you want to leave it the same, we'll entertain that motion too.
I make a motion that we do move it to Thursday. I would recommend that we do it 2 weeks, not next week, but the following week, and give us time to
Yes.
educate people a little bit. So it would be starting on Thursday the 18th, Thursday the something. Not looking at my calendar right now.
Well, the 13th, we have a work study session.
21.
25th.
Yeah, we can start it on the 25th because in communication, we're going to be talking about our calendar next week is kind of an interesting calendar. So,
Yeah.
we can start on the 25th.
That'd be great.
Okay, so we got a motion that we will start the commission meetings on Thursday, the 25th, and we'll study that for a while and see how the comfort level is for everybody, and if we're efficient that way, then that's the way we'll do it. Okay? All right, need a second?
I would make that motion, or that second, sorry.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it passes. I appreciate that. I think this will hopefully be better for citizens, everybody, to give us more time of the week to prepare for these meetings. Okay? Okay, the next item on the agenda is communications, and I know Miss Amber and I talked yesterday, our HR director, and she's got a couple of communications. If you want to come up here and just tell us things that we need to know.
Communicate.
Huh?
Come up and communicate.
Come up and communicate.
Communicate your communication.
I wanted to talk to you about our social media. Right now, we have it pretty locked down. I'm the only person who can post on our page, and I keep it pretty locked down because we do have to, I have confirmed we have to archive that. Since it is from the Christian County Commissioners, it's your page, we're going to have to archive it. There are companies that archive it. I mean, I had several people, I looked into it. They're about $5,000, but our IT they're going to do it for us. They're going to update. They'll back it up for free. I mean, we're not going to. Obviously, it's our guys. We'll back it up every 90 days. But you'll have to tell me who you want to be the editors of that page. Who you want. You got to start thinking about this. That's why I'm just kind of giving you an overview. We are prepared to move forward and start posting and doing things on your page, because we will start archiving them every 90 days. And you just have to decide who you want to have the ability to post. We will have to keep it locked down because we have to follow the rules of nobody can post things that are inappropriate. We can't post things about naming out certain employees. I mean, so we are going to have to monitor it somewhat. So, but we will be able to start utilizing it. So you just have to pick who you want to be able to. I think that Kayla would be a good person to have as an editor on the page. I can add you, gentlemen, if you'd like, but you need to start thinking about who you do want to have access on that.
And how often do we
We're gonna do it every 90 days. Yeah.
And then how long do we keep that?
A year.
A year. Okay, so it's a sliding every 90 days.
We'll keep them a year at a time, but every 90 days we'll go in and we'll back it up, because we have to. Those are our records. If you're gonna put out those type of communications, we have to archive them.
And I'm assuming you're saying that there would be somebody that would have to approve a post from the general population.
We can open it to public comments, but we'll need somebody to monitor them, just to.
Okay.
Or you can make it to where they don't. You can make it where there aren't. I mean, you can lock them down. If you want to make just an announcement, you can log, I don't know if I would, but you could. And really, we can put on there, no offensive comments, and put some of our rules on there like other pages do.
I want us to be sure we think through that, because if it becomes open to the public, we all know that a person, if they chose to do so, could, in a sense, hijack that as a means of publicizing their viewpoint on this issue or that issue. You could wind up with 100 comments of people, etc. And even if they're not inappropriate in the language, it's just we have to decide if that's what that we want it to become a public forum for anybody on any side of that. And if you decide that you're going to have somebody monitor that and choose which ones do and which do not, that's problematic too.
You're going to have a set of rules.
Yeah. So
it'd have to be offensive, and you can't advertise for yourself. No there's things like that. We'll have those set rules. Or you could make it to where you're just making announcements, and you can make it to where the public can message. Right now, it's set up to where I'm getting those private messages, but you can totally get them and send them to the commission email, to where people can contact you to send their questions in or their comments, but it's not on your public page. But I do know that we want to start being able to post things. I mean, we do. We want to be able to be more transparent and have more communication open to the public. So when we're doing things, or when Miranda's having those meetings, or Todd, it'd be nice to have a centralized page where we're posting all those things.
I think that's important.
I'd like to post on there about jobs. I mean, I'm not doing that.
We're to the point as a first-class county that when it comes to transparency and getting information out to everybody, we're getting to the point where we're going to have to look at somebody being a public information officer. I mean, we just are. And I'm not one for growing the government and creating new jobs, but we have a lot of information that we need to put in the hands of our population, regardless. Elections coming up, road closures, whatever those case may be. When you have so many different people trying to input information on there, it starts to get confusing. But when one person's doing it, it is so much more cohesive. And if you're going to be putting out information, you got to take public comment. To have that turned off and not allow the public to make those comments, you really will rile up the public. Why are you trying to hide stuff? Why won't you listen to my voice? All those things. I've lived through that with the city of Ozark. To where we turn it on and we just run with it, and what they say is what they say, and we try to put out correct information, but you can really chase down the rabbit hole if you choose to, because while one person's making a comment, there's a thread growing underneath it, and then someone else makes a comment, and there's a different thread. You may answer in this section, but this person didn't see it, so they ask the same question over and over again. So it becomes essentially almost a full-time job to keep pumping that information out and correcting the misinformation that some people try to put on there.
I think we could, I agree, it's probably going to grow quick, but I think we could start slow, and I think having a point person, I think it would be smart to pick Kayla and have everybody send her the items for her to post. That would probably be a start.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about public comment, but I understand your point completely. We're going to have to have that introductory where it's like, these are our rules, and the only things we will delete are if you're in violation of these, which are going to be the ones that are.
Sure. I just we at the city of Ozark a couple of years ago, there got to be some crazy comments being made, and they weren't necessarily in violation, and our employee at the time that was filling the role of the PIO decided to turn public comment off. Well, that was so much worse than the comments that were being made. And that's why I think having that open dialogue and that open communication as a two-way avenue is the best thing we can possibly do. Because if we try to silence them by turning them off or blocking a certain person or removing content
you need to do one
because you didn't like the content, well, liking the content or disliking the content and it being inappropriate are two totally different things. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a work in progress as we navigate through it.
So right now I'm the only person on the page because I knew that we were going to have to archive it, and I could control myself. It's the only thing I could. And we've only put a few things out since the first of the year. But I can make Kayla, also if you block that, you won't be able to share it. So we want all of our elected officials probably want to share it to their own page too. So you wanted me to start with just letting.
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is go ahead and make a motion and vote on approving Ms. Kayla to...
No, you can't do it during communication.
Oh, that's right, can't do it.
But I just, we
Okay,
need to
and
start the
actually,
conversation.
we can vote on that next week. But we probably need a work study session on the details and rules that we're going to follow.
Well, I'll write something up.
And so we can work on that, okay?
This is just the start. I mean, first I wanted to make sure what the cost associated was with it and making sure that our guys are comfortable archiving it, and they are.
Yeah. Well, this works out perfect. I want
how to move
to congratulate the IT and thank the IT. We all want to thank the IT people because we only have 2 people. They're like an army of 10 or 20, and they're always able to do everything we need them to do and more. And so I want to thank them so much for what they do for our county. And if it's what we were required to do to archive that, we need to do that. But I absolutely agree with every comment. I want this to be completely transparent. I want people to be able to communicate, and that means that they can make comments on it. And we understand there'll be some comments sometimes that we either don't understand or don't agree with, and we'll pray we don't get too many of those, but you're going to get them. That's life, but I want people to be able to communicate back and forth. And even at that, as we try to do all this, we still have people that don't know what's going on. They didn't know there was an election. They don't know there's a senior tax freeze. We have people all the time that don't know what's going on, and we are trying to communicate more than ever. This is live right now, and it's archived, so you can watch it 24 hours a day. And we still don't have people that know.
And we have a really user-friendly website. I mean, we put things out there all the time, but if we have social media that links back to it, you're going to see an increase.
I think it will help. I think it will help. One of the complaints that I just talked to you about yesterday and Ms. Kayla yesterday is we've got this big meeting coming up next Thursday, April 18th, and on the battery storage entry, and we have a lot of accusations out there that they don't know when it's at. They don't know when. I've been trying to tell people for 2 or 3 weeks now, but they don't know when it is. They can't find it on our website and things like that. And so I think that, with Miss Kayla being so sharp and Miss Maddie being so sharp and working together, we're going to have, when we know we have a calendar set, we've got to start telling the public when those meetings are. All the meetings, not just some of the meetings, everything. And you still won't be able to communicate to everybody. There's still going to be somebody that complains that I missed the meeting. Well, guess what? Now you can watch it on YouTube. But they're always still going to complain. But I think we just got to do the best we can. And this is another positive step going forward.
Okay, so I'll start working on that. We'll probably have to do a work study and then you can vote.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Let's do a plan, a work study. That'll be open to the public, and we'll go from there.
We'll kind of talk through how you want to have the verbiage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's built. The page is built. We just need to decide how we're going to open it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
The second thing was. We had one maybe potential food truck. We have one special event, and I know that HRD is going to send another special event, and we need to decide how you guys want to approve them. Do you want just Lynn to sign them? Do you want them to come before all of you? Do you all 3 want to sign them? Like how would you like to move forward on those?
To me, if the policies are already in place and there are people overseeing that, then our presiding commissioner's signature would seem to me to be
So you guys
plenty.
will just give the power.
No sense in taking
If they
up
meet
time.
all the criteria that we've spelled out, then that's fine.
I just wanted to make sure, because we are going to start getting these, I want to make sure that we are their direction, how you want that to go.
And who is the person that verifies that all of the criteria have been met?
We are working, I
Okay.
built
All right, that's
a-
fine.
Yeah.
So as long as that's done and Lynn can sign it, we're in good shape.
Okay. I did talk to Greg Williams. If there are food trucks or nonprofits that don't have the $3 million, he's given us some ability to, he's given me kind of a spreadsheet to see what it really is going to happen and that we can go down, that he's okay with that, going down to meet. So if someone only has 1 million, but they're doing a very low low, what is the word I'm trying to find?
Impact.
Low risk?
Low risk. It won't, if it's not going to be something that is going to have any sort of potential danger or something, he's okay with that. So I do, when those come in and they might not have that, we'll all work with Kayla to see if we have the right to adjust that.
Sounds good.
Is that first event April 29th?
No, that's a Monday.
What's the?
April 27th,
April 27th. April 27th.
Saturday morning, downtown market days,
Yes.
And so it'll be from what time to what time?
8 to 4.
8 to 4?
Yeah, and there's
Okay.
already out on Facebook about that.
Yeah.
And then we had one food truck contact us, and then I think the next thing HRD will do is the car show.
Okay.
Now, are we going to have a food truck here on ours for just general, like on Wednesday or something?
Well, when we finally have one, we will share with our staff, but it's going to be open to the public too.
Sure.
They can come.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that we.
We don't have anything on the calendar yet for that.
No.
He hasn't filled out
That
his
guy
form
was.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
know.
The gentleman that has the fish, is he one of our first ones
Yeah,
to
once
come?
he fills out his form.
And when will he be here?
Well, he wants to come next week, but he has to fill out his form.
Okay, all right, so we may have fried fish next week and coleslaw
Might not.
and everything, so we'll see. All
But you
right.
can send it
That sounds pretty good
too.
though, fried fish. So, yeah, well, thank you.
No.
So, some good communication. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Amber. So I've just got a couple things I want to say very quickly. So next Tuesday, we do have, first on the agenda, the Chadwick girls cross-country team are state champions. They were state champions this year, and they did not get any publicity in the Ozark Headliner or anything else, even on the news in Springfield. And so we are going to, Miss Kayla is doing a proclamation, just like we did the boys team, and we're laminating the proclamations. And I think there's 6 girls that are state champions, and then a couple coaches, and maybe a team manager or two, so I think it was 8 or 9, along with the superintendent, principal will be there. I appreciate the superintendent, Mike, to give me that information, and I had some family members call and thank us about the boys that we did for the boys, but then they reminded us of the girls, which I did not know, or we could have done them all at the same time. It would have been kind of cool, but anyway, we want to honor that group of people. And then also next week, Ms. Kayla will have a proclamation. NACO, our National County Association, has organized with all the states, and so the month of April is National County Government Month. And so next week, we will be celebrating, there's 114 counties in the state, and we will be celebrating National County Month, Government Month. And so we're going to be inviting all of our elected officials in the county to be here that morning, and we'll have a little presentation and get some pictures taken and just kind of celebrate, and we may have some things for the public and everything to know about county government, just to promote what we do for the citizens of this county. So that is next Tuesday, and then next Thursday, April 18th, we do have a meeting scheduled upstairs at 9 o'clock, and it is a work-study session, and we anticipate from the responses that I'm seeing that we will have well over 100 people there at that meeting. I predict we'll probably have the largest crowd that we've ever had, maybe 120, 130 people. Where Richard will have all the chairs that we can find anywhere extra up there, along with all the permanent seating, as well as the jury box. Everything will be full. And we now talked in Show Me Christian County this morning. Ms. Kristen said that they've got either 4 or 5 expert engineers on every topic that questions may arrive. Because I'm kind of hoping, I don't know what the other commissioners think, but I'm kind of hoping this may be the last work study session. We've had 2, this is 3rd. This will be the one that the county commissioners can ask questions. We're going to be first on the agenda. We need to ask our own questions to the experts or to our county attorney. Everyone will be there, and it's our time to find out our own questions, and then we will, the agenda will then switch from us to people in favor, who are actually going to be people in favor of it. And then we will try to find new people that's there that's never spoken at the first 2, and we're going to remind people that we don't want the same question over and over again, and that and then when we have time, the last group will be the group that has already spoken. They want to speak again, but hopefully they'll have new research, new comments, things like that. The shorter we keep it and let the experts talk and answer the question, the better it's going to be, because I understand from all these emails that we're getting that everybody wants to speak, and I don't know how we're going to speak. We're going to actually have this meeting from 9 to 12 o'clock. That may be a problem for some people, but 9 to 12 o'clock, if we can get this done in 3 hours, I think that we can then start doing our due diligence up here and then call for a vote a couple weeks after this work study session. Unless you guys think we need more work study sessions, I think we're getting a lot of information, and so that's what I'm thinking. So that's the 2 meetings going on next week. They're both very important meetings, and then we have a work study session next week that will be open to the public, and it's going to be very important too. Todd's going to be reporting on our 40-acre development, what's going on this spring, and then Miranda's going to be talking about some all the different special road districts. She's got an idea she wants to present to us, and then we also are going to have one of the road districts that we're going to be talking about that has not been getting some of the funds because they had an audit and had a problem actually before our time, but you, Commissioner Blue, probably remember a little bit of it, but they're wanting to be involved again, and we need to hear our county attorney and hear I think even prosecuting attorney and different people will need to be here. We're going to talk about all that, so that's a lot of great important things going on next week. So that's anything else that we have to communicate?
I don't think so. On issues like the battery storage systems, energy storage systems, the one thing that tickles at my mind sometimes is that there may come a time in this process that the 3 of us already know what our answer is going to be.
It could be.
And why do we need to listen to 3 more hours of people talking when we? I feel like I'll be honest with you. I feel like I've got enough information. I can vote today in good conscience. I don't. It's not that I'm wanting to shut people down, but as I read these emails, so much redundancy, and so and I'm not opposed to those coming in. I'm glad for them to come in. It just if we had these sessions for 10 more weeks, we'd have plenty of people standing up telling us what they think. Somehow we need to kind of discern when we've got enough information and we're ready to vote, and that's my only concern about that meeting, because at least today I'm pretty well convinced on how I'm going to vote on that issue without saying how that's going to be. But if we all three got to the point that we knew how we were going to do that, it is a waste of everybody's time to take X number of more hours to listen to basically the same information. I'm not seeing anything that's radically new on that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think if we'd had the meeting on March 25th, the way we had it, we could have already had this done. But they canceled. They were the ones that set the date. They canceled because they didn't have their fire expert engineer, and so really kind of caused a problem, because we had to then find another date and a time that the rooms open up there, and that we could get everybody together. And so it has drawn out a little bit. The thing I have learned out of this whole process is somehow we have to communicate better to begin with. Everybody seems to think, emails I studied last night, that we've already voted on a plan, we've already been paid, we've got all these accusations, and all we have is a proposal. There's nothing set in stone. They may have a contract subject to approval of us, but their contract goes away with the developer if we vote no. So all those things I read every night, all the emails that I get and phone calls I get during the daytime, 99.9% of it's wrong. But somehow when we have these controversial issues, we just got to go out front and make sure people know we're just studying the issue. We've not already voted on it. They think we've already made the deal, and we haven't. And so that's kind of disappointing to me that we're doing that. But we'll go through this. We'll go through this next Thursday. We'll let as many people talk as we can, and I think I'm fine. We don't have to do another one. I think I'm ready to vote too, but I don't know your feelings, your two feelings, and so now we'll listen together, we'll study together, learn together, and then we will put it on the agenda and we'll vote and take care of it.
I would also assume that if we have that meeting and we've been in that meeting, let's just use a number, an hour and a half, and one of us is feeling like this is not shifting any opinion, any one of us, I think, could make at least Brad and I, we can make a motion.
Well, you can, and here, one thing I would say, we're going to go through some rules to begin with, and because I think this is going to be a little bit, I don't want to call it rowdy or media group, but this is a group that's very opinionated, and so I don't want the same thing said over and over again. So you guys will help me. I want people to express their opinions, but if one person gets up and says something and asks that question to the engineers, we don't want the same comment made over and over. So we should be able to cut the time down if we go through some basic 3 or 4 rules to begin with in our meeting. I'll go through those rules, I'll set the tone, and then let's have a good meeting and get it done, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
I don't want to waste time either, okay? So is that okay with you all?
Sure, I do have a couple of comments though.
Okay, sure. Sure.
I don't disagree, and just for the record, shame on Black Mountain for sending their civil engineer into the lion's den a couple of weeks ago, because she was not prepared to answer some of the questions, didn't have the necessary information, and maybe somebody higher up in their chain of command should have been there to address some of that. But now we're bringing them in to listen to their pitch, from them specifically, and answer some of those questions. I would prefer to change the style of meeting from a work study session to a legislative session, because I would potentially be ready to call a vote during that meeting and make a decision then, versus drag it out any number of days after that. I myself have my mind, for the most part, made up, but willing to listen to everybody's testimony. But at some point in time, a decision just has to be made, one way or the other, for the sake of everybody involved, whether it be Black Mountain or our constituency. Dragging it out any longer is just keeping people riled up or keeping a company wondering what's going to happen. Can they move forward with their project or not? So I'm prepared to and I would suggest that we change it from a non-legislative work study session to a legislative session where we have the ability to call the vote should we deem fit at some point in time during that meeting or at the conclusion of that meeting. Not sure if you're in agreement with me or not, but
I know sometime in the past we've had meetings in which it said this will be for discussion and possible vote, and so you leave that open. And I don't think if we call it a work study session, it has to that legally limits us to say you can't vote. It was just a work study session unless we position it that way. I'd be glad to change the name of it too, just to get away from that. But I do remember in time past that it said something like.
It's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom. All items on the agenda include the opportunity for board consideration, discussion, and possible action.
Yeah.
That's on there. As far as I'm concerned, if we just noticed it as a regular meeting with that same, but with only one thing on the agenda, and with that on there, it gives us the right to vote or not vote.
Yeah. To me, it's our terminology that we use. When we say work study, we've always promoted work studies as a non-legislative, no action being taken meeting. And so I don't want to label this meeting as a work study session because I would rather, honestly, I'd rather put it to bed one direction or the other next week. I think we've gotten a ton of testimony on one side. We're going to hear additional testimony from the other side. For all parties involved, I think we should probably go ahead and take action next week and not drag it out any further.
I'm okay with
or
that.
have that option. Maybe during the process it sparks something where we need to think a little bit.
Absolutely.
I would rather leave it open as a regular meeting to where if we deem necessary, we'll take action.
I'm okay with that as long as we leave it open for a possible vote. I don't want to say that we're going to vote next Thursday if something comes up that we don't know, and then we've said we're going to vote, and then you have to vote it down, or vote it up, vote it down, whatever, to try to keep it going. Let's just say I'm okay that we change this, because a work study session, what I did last year, what we've done is we start out a work study session by saying this is for information. I've said this every time. This is for information purposes only. We will make no votes or decisions at this meeting.
Right.
And we bring back the information to the next commission meeting. I'm okay with having a commission meeting next Thursday because I've absorbed a lot of stuff. All this stuff is Black Mountain stuff, and I got a stack probably about that big at my desk at the house that I've studied. So I got a lot of stuff. I'm not an expert yet, but I got a lot of stuff, and so I'm kind of getting wary of all it. And I think my decision's been made too, but I can't speak for the rest of the other two. So I'm okay with having a motion to change our work study session. Although I've already told people when I've answered them that we've got a work study session, we can change that. We can post that on our calendar that the meeting next week has been changed from a work study session to a commission meeting. We can do all that.
I really think it'd be good to just notice it like a regular meeting and then communicate that with the amount of information that we have received, we want to hold open the option of voting. And so it would, in other words, it'd just be a regular commission meeting with one thing on the agenda, and that's best.
Okay. And of course we're going to have our county attorney there, and I just want people to know that in my research, and you may have researched the same thing. In my research, Black Mountain Country has filed 2 lawsuits in this country in the last 1 year against counties that they said that they have met all requirements to do business in the county and they felt like they had the rug pulled out from under them. I know that we have been very careful in stating that we've not made one iota of any type of communication to them that we were going to make this thing happen. We're just studying it. We're just studying this, and I even asked Mr. Todd Weisenhahn, I said, you didn't indicate to them, because you were the ones that initially talked to them. I mean, that contract between Neil Stinger, the developer, and them has nothing to do with us, and we weren't involved. We're not indicating that we wanted them to be here or that we encouraged them to be here. We're just studying the issue. I don't want to get into a lawsuit later on, and so just know that for some reason this company, and I think Show Me Christian County, who I was just talking to Miss Kristen before the meeting started, they're in favor of this, and they're going to testify. Some of their people are going to testify. I don't know whether they've sent some kind of signal out that this would be good for the county, or that they think it's going to happen. I don't know, but it just, there's a lot of stuff going on right here with this thing.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So let's get a motion.
No.
Oh no.
Can't do a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we'll get a motion.
You're the presiding commissioner. You call the meeting. You can label it a work study or a regular meeting. So
then we'll just change.
You're covered either way.
Yeah, I'll just
that
change it.
paragraph is on every single one of your
Okay,
agendas.
then we'll just change it. We'll send I'll start sending notice out. Ms. Kayla, you guys and Maddie was going to make sure that we sent that notice out. We got citizens saying they don't know anything about the meeting next week. We're going to make sure we get that out, and we're just going to say it's a commission meeting. Okay.
Sounds good.
And then we're good.